Hey guys, what's up? I'm Hanna. This is one of my best friends, Myisha Baltus. I'm here for Thanksgiving weekend at her apartment, just chilling. You know what it is. So we thought, why don't we just turn on the camera and just have a frank conversation?
This was super spontaneous.
Really wasn't planned. So we had a couple of things planned. We're like, we could talk about following our dreams. And talk about... I love talking about friendship.
Okay, talk about all the ways I've failed you as a friend.
What is wrong with you? So we're just gonna have a candid conversation. We're basically gonna have conversations that we would have alone, but you guys would be watching. Because sometimes whenever we're on the phone and we talk forever, I'm always like, this should be a podcast.
That's how I feel.
For everything.
Yeah.
So let's just have one of those conversations. What have you been thinking about?
Let's just have a good conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Pressure.
What is something that your younger self would not believe about the age that you're at now? Like something about adulting that you just would never like have considered.
Do you want to answer that question?
No. I'm trying to...
Because I don't know.
Yeah, let me think.
It's a great question.
Maybe how expensive things are.
Well, that.
Because everybody says like it's really expensive out there, like life's expensive, and you're like, I know. And then when you're on your own, you're like,
This costs this much.
it is really expensive.
My car costs that much to repair. My computer.
And I was like, all of my savings.
Wow.
I'm working on it. I'm working back up.
Yeah.
But moving it in itself is expensive.
Yeah.
Last month, I didn't have any furniture or any kitchen stuff. My groceries.
I remember.
Insurance. Yeah.
A lot. I feel like you're better suited to answer that question because you're adulting for real. I'm living with my parents.
Still, there's still a lot of things.
I'm chilling. My brother always says, how do you get all this money to travel? I think she'd be so surprised how content that she is right now. I think she'd be so surprised because I used to, when I was younger, the image I had for myself in this age or around this age was so much so on relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Disney, I tell ya.
I don't know. I was in the water when I was 13. But yeah, that and like even the job I would have. Like I remember I was being driven by fear for a lot of things. I'm gonna get this job because I research it's gonna pay a good amount of money so I can be secure and I'm gonna have this family and someone's gonna love me and then I'm gonna, I may not know what I want to do in life, but like at least I'll be safe. Like that was so much of my mentality as a younger person. And then as I grew older, it's like being content with who I am, where I'm going, and having dreams. That was the thing. When I was younger, I didn't have dreams.
What did you want to be when you were younger?
A doctor, nurse, and then I researched. I went into high school. I wasn't great in those subjects. I went to Grand River to volunteer when I was in high school.
Oh yeah.
And that experience was cool. But then I was like, yeah, I don't want to be a nurse or a doctor. I don't want to be here. So, yeah. How about you? What were your dreams?
Police officer.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna be a police officer.
And I was gonna be a doctor. I like that.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Now you're a social worker and I'm an artist.
Why'd you pause?
What do I don't know how to define myself.
But it was really just because I wanted to help families, and I was like, you know what, I can get a job that specifically helps families. I don't have to deal with all the other crap that police officers
Have to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessary.
Yeah, and I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people and impact people. And then I moved into media because I'm like, I want to help and impact in this way. Can we handle more friends?
No.
No, let's talk about it, the why. I feel like you should say yes because you're living in a new town. So you should be more open.
Should be.
But you're not.
I'm working on it.
Do you remember me or just saying
I had a friend crush on you for a very long time.
Shut up!
And
Shut up! It's making me blush. Okay.
yeah, that's about it.
What was your first impression of me?
Cool.
Shut up. I feel so good right now.
I've told you this.
No.
I was like, oh, she looks kind of cool.
In grade no, but like okay. So.
But because you were just like, because everyone at FCS is so weird, and you were like, I was like, oh, she's cool.
No, I'm not even. You guys weren't just weird. They were freaks. Like the kids were deprived. They were like, and you're just like, what are you doing?
It didn't take long for you.
It didn't
to
take
get-
long, and then I became one of them weirdos.
And you know what? It was fun. Looking
It
back,
was fun.
you're like, we were gross, but like, we were just free to be kids. I don't know. It was like to the extreme.
But yeah, you were nice and funny. I don't know if you talked a lot, but you were nice. You were there. And then I think as we grew on in our friendship, I was like, you were so funny. Like, you made me laugh.
I think grade 6 was like the best year. We had,
It was
what's her
so
name?
much fun.
The one with the
We're
scarves?
Holly.
No, grade 6 was Fleetstra.
Oh, yeah.
She was the best.
She
and
was
so much fun.
sweet.
And she did the Monopoly thing.
She
every
did like
morning.
these little,
Yeah, so we
these
could have like
games.
gym time. Like, yeah, that was a really great year.
It was. She was a great teacher. She's one
And
of
then
those.
it went downhill.
I mean, progressively.
I hated grade 7.
I know you did.
And I'll say it again. I hated grade 7.
I loved it, but I know you went through some
The
stuff.
worst time of my life.
Yeah, that's what you said.
I'm 22 and I look back at grade 7.
Wow.
I'm like, it was the worst year of my life.
Let's talk about why it was so bad.
No.
What's your favorite memory together? Well, this turned into a best friend tag. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do I have one?
What do we do?
We just
Yeah, I
talk.
don't have any memories.
Wait. When we've been on
No, we
trips.
did
What do you mean we've done things?
Dinner.
There's Montreal.
Okay.
Okay.
Montreal.
We was East Coast.
North New Brunswick.
Yeah, New Brunswick, North Bay. There's stuff we do here. There's like
too
day
many-
trips. Remember we went horseback riding?
Oh yeah.
That was fun. Your church. On the phone. What's your
There's
favorite?
too
We'll
many.
circle back.
I'll
We'll
say
circle
Montreal.
back. Well then.
Except no,
I'll
because
say
it
New
was a heat
Brunswick.
wave.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My skin had like a crazy reaction to the sun and the makeup because it was so hot.
Yeah, it was. People were dying that weekend.
No, like literally. Describe each other in one word. Okay, I got one.
My word is Hannah. What's yours?
Spunky. What's yours?
Um.
No, now you're thinking about it?
Yeah.
Lame.
I want to say like thoughtful, but not in like, not that you're not, but like not in the way of like, oh, let me do this for you because I'm thoughtful, but more.
Because you don't do that. I'm gonna tell you.
That's not what I'm saying.
You don't.
Listen.
You're right.
I'm thinking of thoughtful in the way of like you are full of thoughts.
What? I think
I'm
a lot.
trying. You're pensive. You're pensive.
I actually do think a lot. I'd become a.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. Is it good? What's your favorite inside joke that you guys share? We have inside jokes every weekend.
Yeah, it changes.
This one is oh. Who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Yeah, you're really fast. I'm always impressed.
15 minutes.
It's like, did you shower?
Everything is in 5-minute increments. 5 minutes for makeup, 5 minutes for hair. Not 5 minutes for hair. 5 minutes for hair and makeup.
Wow.
5 minutes for clothes. And then
The thing with Myisha, she does everything like extra. She does everything sometimes aggressively, but usually everything fast. She's washing dishes, she's like and I'm like, whoa. I always have to like be like, calm down.
because
And then she'll like make a bed, she'll like why is like chill. We have to like walk outside. She's like running. Like, why are we like always in a rush but we're early?
No, it's I can't stand if I'm like I can get this done in half time. I just move double speed. And I think especially in the
Maybe with
kitchen when I'm
cooking.
cooking, yeah, because I'm just in my element.
Yeah.
And I don't need music or anything. I'm just in my element and I
You
can
love
round
it.
up.
I know.
And there's no reason for me to be like, what am I? Because I just know,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I feel it. Follow me at Chef Myisha.
This is lame. What's your favorite song and your favorite band?
Next.
What's your favorite food? All of them?
Yeah. Anything I make is usually...
Dude, anything she makes is my favorite food too. What's the name of your best friend's crush? First crush. What was your first crush? Crushes? I don't have that. I can count the amount of guys on my hand that I've ever had a crush on.
Yeah.
Maybe even less than that. It's very, very odd. Once every 4 years.
No, that's fair. I think my first one was probably like in grade 3. You don't know.
Someone from...
He was gross too. He was a dirty kid. Like... like he had dirt on his arm.
Sometimes when you talk to kids, I'm like, how are you even working with them?
They're gross.
Who's your celebrity crush? We don't talk about crushes.
No.
Only like...
Well, that's a lie. Yes, we do.
What do you admire most about the other person?
Whoa. I'm gonna go back to the thoughtfulness thing.
You think so?
Because you're very like thinking about like your friendships or like the youth you work with or like stuff like that. Like you're very like mindful about like, okay, how can I like reach out to this person? How can I help this person connect to this person? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I think just like how deeply you think about everything.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes I'm like, it's not that deep, you know? This happens a lot. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. It's not that deep.
The first thing that popped into my mind was your work ethic and determination. I admire that a lot. The same thing with her fast-pacedness is that like when she wants to get a job done, she'll get it done. And like even if she can't, there's like a block, it's like you'll always find some sort of solution or you'll like try. And then when you don't, it's like I'm devastated.
Or lay on the couch.
Yeah, but it's like I admire the fact that you don't give up and you keep pushing and you work hard. Like everything in your life is a product of the Lord, but also your hard work is very evident in that. When you're in school, when you're out of school, like with ministry, everything you do. And you do like 10 million things at once. Like when we were in school, you're like, oh yeah, like I'm doing worship here and then I have this and then I have volunteering and then I'm with the kids and then I have placement, and then I have classes and then I have, oh, I work here part-times on the weekends. And I'm always confused, like why do you do this to yourself?
Me
but
too.
then I'm also like, wow, I kind of admire like the fact that if you want something, you get it and you work hard. It's very admirable. It's kind of cute. Who would play your friend in a movie? Who?
I like... Maybe it's because we're talking about This Is Us. But I like Randall's wife. I don't know what her name is.
Oh.
Like her, like the one who played her as
a kid?
Not a kid.
A
When they
teenager?
were in college.
Oh. Oh, she's so cute. Yeah, I was thinking Meghan Markle.
What?
Mhm. Because I saw a picture of her in curly hair.
Wait, but her man, we're nothing alike.
Hmm?
I feel like we're nothing alike. You know who I want for myself?
Who?
Oh shoot, what's her name? Gina.
Rodriguez? You're not Spanish, but sure. I'm just joking.
She could pass as mixed.
What's your favorite thing to do together?
Driving in a car.
That's your favorite thing to do? Period, or just with me? When's your birthday? 3, 2, 1.
Mine's way too easy to remember. Shoot.
You don't know my birthday?
Oh no.
This girl
No,
makes me. Doesn't make me.
It's January 17th.
Your birthday's February 13th.
Yeah, that's way too easy to remember.
And I take you out for your birthday every year.
Valentine's Day, you're never gonna forget that.
She's been.
January 20th.
Let's squash this. She's not my best friend
Let's hit
anymore.
January 25th.
No, you're not my best friend anymore.
January 25th.
Not my
20th?
best friend anymore. No, that is so crazy, guys.
Oh, no.
Ex-best friend.
Hey, I check every year.
Oh my god.
I don't know anyone's birthday, so don't feel bad.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Oh, see, and my two options at first were
No.
the 18th or the 20th, and I was like, no, I feel
She
like
said
there's another
17th
number.
and 25th.
Yeah, it's because
No.
Rachel's is 25th.
Oh.
June 25th.
Oh, because you can remember Rachel's.
Only because
No.
her mom's is in the same week.
Oh, so you remember her mother's.
I don't know anyone's birthday.
Except Rachel.
I don't even know
mom.
what my grandma's is. I think it's...
Okay, I'm being extra, guys. I
September.
don't actually act like this. Okay, that's weird, but okay, well, I'll take it.
Look, mine's easy to remember, that's all I'm saying.
Why can't people be in love and tell people they're in love? Like,
I don't have an issue with that.
okay.
But I have an issue with, okay, what is annoying is more single people talking about, like, their future spouse.
Okay.
And I feel like it's mostly people on the internet that I see. Like,
Okay.
younger single Christians. And that was, like, my influence when I was, like, a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yeah.
And, like, them being, like, we're gonna find the one, God's gonna bring us together.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, not that that's not true,
Okay.
necessarily.
Or, like, how do you feel about people who pray for the future husband that they've never met before?
Yeah, no, I think that's
important.
important.
Oh, you think that's... Okay.
Because you're praying, like, but I think it's about your heart behind it. If it's, like, you're praying for your future in general, and, like, if it's your will for me to get married, I pray for that relationship, I pray for that future person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God, I trust your timing, so, like, whenever that timing happens, like, just, like, help me in that time, or, like, bring people into my life who can, like, counsel us or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's a difference between that and, like, I don't know. I really don't know what a healthy way to, like, I don't like the word yearning either.
Desiring.
To desire a future spouse is. Because I don't know when, like, what the line is between, like, oh, you just, like, want this thing because it's a relationship and it's, like, a human thing that you desire. And then the line is, like, okay, but now it's, like, an idol and now it's all you think about. And every day you're like, is it him? Is it him?
Yeah. Well,
And,
that's
like,
completely so unhealthy.
yeah, and then you start looking at everybody, like, you're shopping for somebody and you're, like, evaluating, oh, they have this one thing, and then you get super picky. And it's okay to be picky, like, it's okay, you have to have standards, but then it just becomes a little unrealistic. That's like, okay, they're gonna have flaws. Like,
you are dating a human.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yeah. It's okay to have your deal breakers, but you also have to know that it's easy to say that until you get there, and those deal breakers might change when you get there and you're like, you know what?
You're like, well, it's not really a big deal.
And not that you should compromise on your standards when you meet someone you like. Not saying that either.
He checks off one box. Well, like, I guess
I can work with the rest. He's not even a Christian, but he'll get there. Make it a big thing, or it's like seen as like, oh, this big like spiritual step in your life that you're waiting to get to. That's like. And I listened to a podcast, like Ginger Duggar.
Okay.
And her and husband were talking, and she got married when she was like 22. Mm-hmm. But she was like
old.
Yeah, her sister's 30 and not married, so. She was saying, like, she felt like she wasted a lot of her time being single because she was so focused on when she was going to find this person. And she's like, I wasted time. I could have started new things. I could have invested in myself. Like, there's so many other things to focus on in life than another person that you don't even know.
That's
like,
my kind of qualm.
And to think, like, oh, I'm not going to do this until I'm married, or I want to do this with my spouse, or go on this trip with my, like, if you want to do something, do it, and do not wait on somebody that you don't even know is coming. They may not ever come, and you have to come to terms with that. Like, chill.
That's so funny. That's kind of my issue with it, when people kind of put it on this pedestal, or when, like, you know, single people who aren't in those relationships yet are being like, well, I gotta prep for this, or I gotta wait for that, and I gotta make sure that this is ready for him or for her, and it's like, okay, but, like, I don't know. I'm so big on, like, just
that's another thing.
Be in your season.
Yeah.
Just be in the season.
And we talked about this yesterday, that, like, it's viewed as, like, there's 2 seasons in your life, single and married.
Yeah.
And all of your single season is preparing for marriage. And all of your, like, marriage is good because you prepared for it in your single season.
Yeah.
That's, like, all these, like, Christian influencers and stuff are, like, while you're single, prepare for marriage. Like,
what does
I
that
have
mean,
more
though?
going on for me than preparing to be
Period.
a wife and a mother. Like, there's more to me than that, and like, I'm like, what does that even mean?
And
like instead, the focus should be work on your friendships, work on your self-awareness, all of the stuff you should be working on when you're an adult anyways.
More like Jesus.
Exactly. It's
that's
not
the end
for your
goal.
spouse.
It's never like, I can't wait to be the best wife,
like,
or the best mother, and the best career woman.
And in turn, when you work on those things when you're single, they're going to help you.
Exactly.
But that's not the reason behind why I'm reading my Bible.
Yes.
Like, I just...
Why I have a relationship with Jesus.
Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, that's the one thing that bothers me too, is because I love relationships in general. And healthy relationships with your family, with your friends, with your partner, with your business partners, like whatever it is. Like, I love that stuff. So I study it, or I look at it, or I cultivate it, or I put priority over it over other things in my life because I value it. But then what bothers me is when people come and talk to me, like friends and girls or whatever, and they'll be like, yeah, this, and I'm really waiting for this moment and this guy, and their emphasis and focus is so much on this future man they haven't met, or this guy that they're seeing. And I'm like, listen, like, you have so many relationships in your life right now that are dying.
Yeah.
That are toxic and sick. Why don't you tend to what God gave you? Like, that's been my thing, like, be in your season. If God gave you this season, these friendships and these roles that you should be playing as a son or a daughter in these families and communities, and so just be in that and do well in that. You know, I'm always like, not in a sense of like, oh, if you do good here, God's gonna bless you, and finally when you graduate this level, you're gonna get there. It's like, no, like, I believe imperfect people go into marriage, cool, and it's like, that's life. You don't have to be a certain level of maturity, whatever, in my eyes, for you to be qualified to be married. Like, you be married right now, whatever. But it's like, if you don't care about your relationships now, your friendships now, your mentees or mentors, if you don't care about that, you're not going to care about a man or a kid in the future.
No.
Or like, if you, like, I don't know.
But and if your focus is like, oh, let me care about these things for the sake of the future, then it's still not good.
No. You're wrong again.
Like, yeah.
So go back.
It.
But people have always said this about singleness or whatever, like just be content, and when you're content, God's gonna bring that.
Come.
So you're not content actually at this point. Yeah. Like, just then be you're secretly
like,
content.
I'm holding back for, like, I'm the one who's stopping my future spouse.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, God, now I'm content, so bring him. It's like, so what's going on?
Yeah.
No, like, truly work on being content, period. Not because someone's gonna come in the future or whatever. Right. Like, just work on it in general, because even in a marriage, you need to work on being content, because you're not gonna be content. Even when you're a mother, you're gonna have to work on being content.
But you should be working on that stuff regardless of whether or not you think you're gonna get married, or like, because there's no guarantee.
That's true.
You can get married and then the next day he dies. Like, you don't know.
Such
like,
is life.
It happens.
Yeah.
But like, and like, you're working towards those things because you want to be more Christ-like and not like, okay, whether or not I get married, like that. I don't know. That's just such a focus that I'm like, like, there's so many bigger things in life than whether or not you marry. Yeah. And like, I know it's like around us so much, especially Christian culture, it's very like, oh, you're in your single season. That's like, I just happen to be single, but there's a lot of other seasons going on in my life. Yeah. And I'm 22. Like, I don't know what single season feels like. Like, when people who are young like us and they're like, single season, and I'm like, you're 22. Most people your age aren't married. Like, you're not suffering.
Like, it's been so hard, being single right now. It's like,
most people don't get married this young.
You're like, 19.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even out of high school. Not in a single season,
you're just a normal kid.
Yeah. I've been single for 15 years. You're 15 years old. Like, you don't need to be in a relationship right now. But I love it because I feel like there's just so much growth even in us, because it's kind of like we're talking to our 13-year-old selves. Like, get it together, honey.
And then when we're 30, we'll be like, when I was 22, I didn't know.
I think so many things contribute to that. Christian influencer culture is a big one. I can't tell you. It's embarrassing. But as a young girl, watching so many How We Met, dating, Christian, boundary, like, content just flooding my YouTube at that age.
And Pinky I think promise, it makes purity. You think that
no kissing before marriage. This is what God told us. The dreams, prophetic dreams. I think God told me I'm going to marry him. Just a lot. We just have like, and not that we should have low expectations for marriage, but like, or for our futures in general. But the expectations are just very like Disney. Beautiful. And because people on social media, even though they say, oh, we fight, like,
our relationship isn't perfect. You're never gonna see that. Like, they're not gonna record themselves fighting, and
Yeah, it's kind of
you know, and you can take, okay, yeah, sure, you're a normal couple, but like, you're beautiful and you have this beautiful story and your kids, and you know, like, so then your expectation is still like to have a perfect relationship, and that's not realistic in your friendships either. So then I feel like
I was listening to this woman on Heart Convos, and she was saying like a lot of people come with this mentality like, if she's toxic, if he's toxic, like, just cut your friends off. Just, it's okay, you don't need to deal with it, just cut it off, just cut it off. And she's like, pause. What made you think that, like, the method of, I'm just gonna have peace in my life means you're not gonna have conflict. She's like, that's not even true. You're gonna have conflict in every relationship you're in. Like, you gotta work, you gotta know the season you're in, you gotta know, where's my friend at right now? Maybe I need to be the bigger person in the season, or maybe I need to help them.
And the word toxic gets thrown around so much. That's like,
easily.
It wasn't toxic, you just were like having a fight, or like you just were disagreeing.
It wasn't toxic, y'all just didn't communicate. It wasn't toxic.
Exactly.
Like, you're just too afraid to confront
like, I think
your friend.
of like toxic as like abusive.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, I'm like, you could probably work through it.
Yeah.
Or you just decided to not put the effort into the friendship, which is fine. Yeah. But if you do that over and over and over with all your friends and everybody in your life was toxic, the problem is probably you, not them.
Yeah, that's the thing about Christian influencer culture that kind of hurts us, is the fact that you don't really see the hard work that goes into having relationships in general. Everything is so easy and pretty and beautiful and worth it, but there's lots of hard seasons in friendships and life and family, and like, being like Christ is long suffering through them, being patient, enduring, you know, trying to find the light in those dark places. It's not, okay, well, peace out. Like, that's not always being like Christ. And I feel like we don't talk about that. Not like, oh, it's hard, we fought. Like, yeah, you guys are in a marriage. You're like supposed to stay together. You know what I mean? Like, it's expected of you. But no one talks about like, oh yeah, like me and my friend are going through this rough patch. It's sort of like, well, you know.
Yeah, true.
You know, so I think it's important for us to know, like, I don't know, relationships take work, maintaining them, it's gonna be hard, and you're not gonna be perfect. There's toxic things in you, you know, and it's like addressing that. But like, as much as God like gives us grace, we need to be giving grace to our friends. Like, we can't just be like, I expect perfect out of you, when you know you have your own insecurities and your own brokenness too, right? So,
but you're not gonna get to that point unless you put in the initial work to like cultivate your friendships. Like, you're not going to get to the point where you're like, you know each other that well to realize that, or to like communicate that.
Yeah.
But so many people just don't have friends that they've had for a long time, or, you know, so they're not really used to that. And it's not really their fault. Sometimes people just kind of have that kind of life where they're like, they don't have long-term friends.
And but I think it's also important to know how to navigate friendships, even when the friendships aren't meant to be long-term or like forever. Because you're gonna have like short-term friends or these types of friends, but I think it's always important to, I don't know, my emphasis has always been, or my mantra is like, regardless of who this person is gonna be or who I decide them to be in my life, whether they're a long-term friend or a short-term friend or whatever, I'm gonna be the best friend that I can be to them.
Right.
And it's not going to be dependent on if they're a good friend to me or how long they've been in my life. I always want to be a good neighbor, a good friend in their time of need. So if there's someone I met for like, I've known like for maybe a year, but it's like, oh, well, in this season, I know I'm going to pour more into this because I know where they're at. I think that is where we get lost, because we sort of like gauge it and we're like, well, like, we're not, like, it's not my job. And it's like, it's not. But it's like, but that's what Jesus does. And I think, but you have to have the self-awareness and the boundaries for yourself to know these expectations, and to know, well, like, I'm going to have boundaries with this friendship. Like, I can't be with you 24/7. Because people have this rhetoric, like, friends are they're with you whatever. Like, everybody has time. Like, if they just didn't make time for you. And it's like, no, like, people have lives and work and jobs and kids and families. Or, like, they're not always going to be there for you when you need them to be.
Yeah.
But you need to be okay with that. You need to be self-aware and know, like, okay, we are all different, and they're gonna come when they're able to. Because some people are like, well, it's not convenient for you, so you're just not a good enough friend. And it's like, no. What is one thing you've learned about friendship or relationship or singleness or maybe even the season of life, I know that's a lot of options, that you want to share or has been like a heavy theme in your heart?
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah.
I know.
I thought you were gonna say one thing you learned about friendships from our friendship.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, that's way easier. We've just had the conversation a lot about like communicating expectations. That's probably something. And I told you in that book I was reading, that they were just talking about like how before like going, because they had like, okay, wow. They were in a long distance relationship, and then when they got together, they both had different expectations about what they'd be doing. One of them was like, oh, I thought we'd just sit and talk, and the other was like, I had all these things planned. And like something as simple as that can like leave you feeling like, oh, like now we're just like miserable because we just like didn't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, I don't know, because we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, what are your expectations for this trip? What are your expectations for, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We do have those conversations. Like,
Yeah.
what are you expecting to get out of it? Yeah. I was listening to another little podcast snippet, and she said with those friendships and communicating expectations and boundaries, she's like, you need to be communicating and then recommunicating and then changing and then recommunicating. Like, it's always going to be this thing where they're going to change. It's not like, hey, this is my expectation forever and always, right? It's like, it's going to change, or your boundaries are going to change in different seasons. Like, hey, I can't talk to you that often. I'm in school. Or like,
Right.
you know, like, or, you know, you're in a new relationship and you don't get as much time with your friends. It's like, that needs to be communicated as well. You know, there's a diamond in the rough. Like, because when I think of like us as also where we were young when we first met in grade 6, and I think of us now, and even our friendship, we talked about the other day, like, were we even like friends in high school?
I know, I don't even remember.
Like that, because we went to 2 separate high schools, and we re-met again in our university, and we lived in the same city, kind of, like it wasn't too far from each other, but, and we talked like maybe once or 2 times a year on the phone for like 4 hours.
I feel like in the beginning of high school, though, we talked like once a week.
I think so too.
Yeah. Like I think I called you like every Thursday or something like that.
Oh my gosh. It is very much so possible to grow, to be able to grow with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people think growth is kind of separate, and you see the friends and you're like, oh, well, you're here and you're there. But it's like very much, it's very possible to like link arms with someone and grow in the same direction and grow upward. Mm-hmm. Like, even if they're like feeling low, it's like you lift them, you're feeling low. Like, I think I really realized true partnership and growth, because we are so much, as different as we are, we're very alike. Mm-hmm. I think in what we were going through in high school and university. Yeah. Like,
and
our roles
kind of been at the same stage of life for a long time.
For a very long time.
Like,
and I don't know if we noticed it.
No, not always.
But I'd be like, yeah, so like so we're both church leaders, you know, since we were young, and we consistently did that. We didn't have a lot of like young people in our churches. Like, we were always the leaders, and then it's like we had expectations from family, and then we had expectations from our other group of friends, and like we kind of had the same mirrored life in a way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I noticed that later on in life. I'm like, wow, God really was intentional on putting you in my life, because it's like I needed someone like that. So. Yeah, that's what I learned. Growth is possible. Alright, well.
You know,
there you have it,
but
folks.
if you don't like this music, then don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, can you go somewhere but here? Cause you know we're only losing control. I say, if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, can you go somewhere but here? Cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute. Oh.